Hello YouTube, it's Proxy1986 here, bringing you another video here of World of Warcraft. In this case, I'm talking about classic Season of Mastery 2 and things I think should be added into the game for that version. If you don't know what it is, it's basically vanilla classic, but they're going to do different ways. So I didn't play the first season of it. So season 1, it was basically they had different eras of when the raids were being released, and you could pick and choose which one you wanted. It's dumbed down simple. I'm sure there was more to it, but that's what I understood. What I think they should do for Season of Mastery 2 is try to make what the game could have been. So I call it the what if. What if we had what we have now and incorporate it into classic, but keep it like it's classic. And what does that mean? Well, we already know what they want classic experience to be. No looking for raid, none of this mass things that they have in retail, a community driven experience. And I think the best way to make communities happy is making quality improvements to the game that don't change the way that you function in the game. So with that said, let's begin. And I'm going to break it down. My very first section here, and section 1 is, of course, quality of life changes in the forms of talents, glyphs, and professions. I think we can just go ahead and jump into the talent systems. And I love Wrath of the Lich King. It's my favorite version of the game. And I think the Wrath of the Lich King talent system makes the game more balanced in terms of what you can and can't bring to a raid. We know there's issues in raids that I'll discuss later in terms of its quality of changes, but in this case of this section, sticking to talents and things that we can get rid of as like parry, two-handed axes, and we're using shaman as my example. And replacing them, obviously, we'll be using the talent tree from Wrath of the Lich King, where you start from level 10 all the way down to level 60. You'll commit to one specialization. You won't be able to switch into the other specs because you won't be able to get to your keystone, which will be of course, the major piece. So, for example, again, shamans would be feral spirits. And I like the way how they do it in Dragonflight, where once you're in a spec, you're in the spec. You don't need to go over the other specs, which means things like elemental devastation would be over here instead of with elemental, because elemental shamans do not do melee weaving. Okay, that's basically what it enhances. They're a melee class that also casts spells. You would still have the clunky mechanics of mana and health and that stuff, but we could possibly look into that as the quality of life changes. But things like another thing in quality of life, I take shamans. Throwing down all 4 totems at the same time doesn't change the feel of the game. It doesn't. What it does do, it makes the quality of life change. And being able to recall all the totems. It doesn't do anything to hurt the experience of classic, but it definitely improves classic. Those are the things I'm thinking of in terms of the quality of life. And since we're talking about talents, you gotta bring glyphs, and I think minor glyphs are what they need in classic. Being able to remove reagent requirements is what I'm thinking about in terms of what minor glyphs could be. So that would be great. So then, of course, how can you do glyphs? Well, you gotta have the profession, inscription. That's a new one added. Bring jewel craft and bring inscription. Bring those core professions that are in from other expansions into Season of Mastery 2, and they can go up to its rank 300. I always say 30, I don't know why, but rank 300, and you're good to go. The game is still balanced, still functions. It's great. You can even change what the gear looks like in terms of the high level items, and it's just, I feel like those would be quality of life changes for the game that would benefit, which then kind of goes into section 2 of this video, which is the quality of life of the leveling experience. And we all know that classic is the journey. You want to play the expansions and retail. That's not about leveling. And we all know that is what makes people come and play the classic experience is the leveling experience. I don't know exactly how to directly change this without saying that we need to make it more enjoyable, but that is more or less what it is. So how do you make it more enjoyable? Speed. The speed of leveling matters. The speed of leveling from 1 to 30 is enjoyable. The speed of leveling from levels 40 to 60 is terrible. It's crap. I hate it. No one in their right mind says, you know what? I love playing level 40 to 60 in vanilla WoW. No one says that. Why? Because it's annoying. You have to travel so much. And a lot of the problem with the traveling system is that it sends you from one place to another, but in the slowest possible way. Good solution. Update the flight path. For example, you hear in Stone Talon, I got one pathway, but guess where that pathway has to take me? You got to two places. You can go here, you can go to Crossroads, you can go to Thunderbluff, I can go to Thalalon. I can't go to Anderk. No, it can go there, but you're gonna have to go all the way to Crossroads, all the way up, and then across. No, just go over the mountains. Fix that. Fix the way the pathing goes. That's huge. But keep some of the quirks. You know, if we're talking about pathing, remember that you should be able to leash mobs. Don't change the way how leashing, because hardcore characters can't play the game if you change the leash mechanic. Because if you stick to what it is and say Wrath of the Lich King, the leash mechanic breaks and they return, and there will be impossible quests for hardcore characters to do. So still keep in mind those players. And that's kind of what I want to say for section 2 is the leveling experience. Remember the point of classic, even in Season of Mastery 2, is enjoying the leveling experience. That is what makes it classic, and that means the community-driven experience. We're not going to have looking for raid. Don't ask for it. It's not something you should be wanting. You should have we should have though the tab for I use for key binding eye. It opens up looking for people who are going to do a group. That should be incorporated into Season of Mastery 2, like we have in Wrath of the Lich King right now. That is a great thing that should be added into Season of Mastery 2 so you can find people. And that also brings me back to, we should start Season of Mastery 2 with less realms so we can have the populations and keep it there until the populations are just full and be happy with it. I think that's what you need in Season of Mastery 2 is less realms, more consolidation of people, build the community. That's what people want. And with these quality of life changes, it will change the way how the game functions. Which brings me into section 3. The cherry on top of the leveling experience, of course, is in-game. We know that Classic is about the journey, but you still have the in-game content. And in-game content is raiding. It's the core function of these MMOs, and we got to focus on it. What can you do? Well, you keep the original raids of Classic where they are, but add in previous raids that should have been there. Karazhan should be there. It was one of the originals that didn't get added until TBC. Put the basement into Karazhan, update it, change things, keep core mechanics like the chess game, but change the layout, make some tweaks. Don't just rehash the same raid and expect the players to be happy with it. It won't be great. But most importantly, I feel like what vanilla represents, if we should have ended on the way how Warcraft 3 ended, which was Mount Hyjal's raid. We should be at the Tree of Life, the sacking and destruction and defeating the final boss there. That's what I feel like was Classic. We could add, of course, some Emerald Dream. You could add a raid for Scarlet Crusade. That's things that I think that if you added this into the game, it would be major improvements. And I think that's what you need to be doing for the next Season of Mastery. So adding these things in the game, I think is what is needed for the game going forward. catering to a collective group, and that's what we want. So if you like this type of video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. I hope I hit some of the key things, and I hope Blizzard can do the right thing and create a good experience for everyone. Have a good one.